Hey guys, I just wanted to hop on and make a quick video about testosterone because I'm sick and tired of seeing influencers pushing testosterone replacement therapy on young men who do not need it and justifying pushing this treatment onto you using their own positioning of themselves as morally superior or just trying to tell you that whatever testosterone you have is not adequate to achieve certain fitness goals or goals around motivation and drive to accomplish what you may want to accomplish in life. And because you're not using what they're using, you'll never achieve what they will achieve. I think this is a load of nonsense, and it's such a simplistic way to look at testosterone levels. And at the end of the day, they're really just trying to make money, whether or not they believe what they're saying or not. But either way, their content is being consumed by impressionable young people, and as we know, a lot of young people are taking testosterone replacement younger and younger, and it's just becoming something quite dangerous and something quite prevalent, and I don't think it's going to be a good thing at all. So I just wanted to hop on, and actually I'm going to go through a some blood work of my own to sort of illustrate how on paper, if you were to use kind of the heuristics that most doctors, at least that I've seen, talk about testosterone, or the way that these influencers talk about testosterone, on paper it would look like I have low testosterone, but the actual blood work in its totality gives a very different picture. So let's go over that now. So here we have my blood work pulled up. I had this done about a year ago, but I've had several done. The reason why I had this blood work done was just for my sleep apnea, and I was trying to see how the CPAP treatment was working, if I could see a measurable increase in my testosterone in blood work in general over time, and I did actually see it come back to what would be considered normal for me. So the number one thing that people get wrong or that they're not telling you is that total testosterone, usually measured in nanograms per deciliter. That total number for a lot of people will tell you a lot about your testosterone level, but the problem is without looking at other things like your prolactin, like your free testosterone, like your albumin and your sex hormone binding globulin or SHBG, without taking a look at all those in tandem, you're not actually going to get an accurate picture of how the testosterone that you have is actually functioning in your body in terms of your androgenicity and performance outcomes and sort of just how you feel in your day to day. So, as you can see here, my total testosterone is technically speaking on the lower end of the normal range. Um, and if this is the only number that I had, I would be kind of bummed out. I mean, like, that looks pretty low, right? Um, and I mean, I've had doctors say that they would prescribe me testosterone replacement if I wanted based on this level. But I'm like, no, let me just take a look at the whole panel myself. So as we can see here, I have a free testosterone of 120.7 picograms per milliliter. And that's actually on the higher end of the reference range here. So that's interesting. Why is this? Well, my SHBG, which just, I'm not super educated in all these things, but from my understanding, the SHBG essentially binds free testosterone in the blood and prevents it from binding. So the lower this number is, the higher relative free testosterone you'll have to whatever total testosterone you have. So as you can see here, my SHBG is at the very, very bottom of the reference range. So it's very, very low, which basically means that even if my total testosterone is only 400, a very large percentage of that relative to maybe what's considered average is free testosterone. My prolactin levels are also quite low, and elevated prolactin can also decrease testosterone. And I don't have it pictured here, but my albumin is also pretty low, which also can affect your free testosterone as well. But basically, if you equate all of these things together, if you were to convert my free testosterone ratio percentage to someone with higher, more normal SHBG levels and other metrics, I would have a testosterone of 800 nanograms per deciliter. So basically what I'm saying is, if you are a young person and you're concerned about your testosterone levels genuinely for health reasons or otherwise, you might want to look into these things and see if you have a similar kind of ratio between your SHBG, your total, and your free test. Because you might actually have high test without even really knowing it, because like I said, this total number is very loaded. There's a lot of things that determine how effective this number actually is or not. The other thing, which I don't know if we can measure, is also androgen receptor sensitivity. So if someone has like high androgen receptor sensitivity, they might present with a lower testosterone but have the effects of high androgenicity and the effects of high testosterone, just because the receptors in their body that the testosterone is binding to is actually very sensitive, so it can be more efficient at using that testosterone. A lot of times, high testosterone, high total testosterone, just means that you either have a lot of testosterone bound or you have low androgen receptor sensitivity. Now, I'm not saying that any of you have either one of those things, but I'm just saying that these are just some things that people don't think about. Hormones are not just like one-dimensional. There are many things that go on, like as you can see with my blood work. So I would not be concerned whatsoever. I feel like a person who has high test. I'm very strong. I'm very muscular. Continue to make progress. So in my case, this number doesn't really mean much, because my free test that's actually binding to receptors in my body is actually doing a lot of work for me. At the end of the day, though, this is useful information, and it's information that people should be sharing with you. But the reason why these influencers are not sharing this information with you in general is just because that's not what sells testosterone. If you want to sell testosterone to young, impressionable people, you have to make it seem like your test is low or your test is not good enough. But if you actually take a deeper dive, you might actually be just fine. And I just think that it's very, very important to raise awareness in young people, because otherwise they might have the impression that taking exogenous testosterone is going to be some sort of magic pill that it's not. And it's essentially going to lead them down the road of taking steroids, essentially, because that's what it is when you encourage someone who is young and otherwise has perfectly fine testosterone levels, and they take exogenous testosterone, they're essentially taking steroids. That's really what all this is just a clever way to convince people to hop on gear, and to sell a product. And that's completely disingenuous, and I condemn that. But that's all I have for now. There'll be more videos on other topics coming soon. Thank you.